that God's Spirit lead us in so many ways when we want to have a passion and a purpose for life. And I remember last week, I guess, we sat down to talk, and it was it was a very heavy week for me. Like you in the past.
Yeah.
That's me now.
Yep.
With little kids. Yeah. That's our thing, right?
Sorry, not
I am
sorry.
like mini Tracy.
Yeah.
But I was just in a dark place. Depression and anxiety, something that is such a big part of my life. And what God is showing me is that even though those days exist and those seasons exist, it doesn't define who I am.
Yeah.
And I need to be very careful of not allowing those, that diagnostic to define me. But
that's so important.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because for so long I honestly allowed, because when I have my sometimes I have panic attacks, or I'm like, with this heavy anxiety, or when I go to this very depressive mood, and I know that it's a diagnostic. It's not just, oh, I'm just kind of feeling down today.
Yeah.
No, I know how is it coming. I know how deep it gets, and I know how dark it gets. And I really want to talk about it because I know I'm not alone, just like you are not alone.
Yeah.
So what God is showing me is that I can have that, and I can navigate that for some reason that I don't know,
Right.
looking for help, sharing, with other
Yeah.
people my struggle, without letting that define who I am
Or disqualify you.
or disqualifying.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's the big thing that we
Yeah.
spoke about it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel just like, it pushes you on that place of not feeling that you're good enough. So God's really reminding me that it doesn't define who I am.
Yeah.
It's just a small part of my
Yeah.
journey on earth, and we all have.
And how interesting to me is it that I spent years thinking that somebody, with a different, someone that didn't suffer from the things that I suffered needed to take the mantle of
I
FTGI
know.
because they would be stronger, and they would be able to, and how interesting that God brought somebody with the same
I know.
struggles,
Yes.
and it just shows you it's not a disqualifier.
It is not.
No.
It is not. And I
Yeah.
think that we need to step on that. But there are two things I want to talk about that in this season right now, because it is a real season that I'm going through right at this second. And I think that community is so important. I mean, being able to sit with you that day and just be like, Tracy,
Yeah.
I am on this dark
Yeah.
place right now. Being able to have those safe people around me that
Yeah.
people that love me,
Yeah.
and people that will remind me of who I am.
Yes.
And I think that FTGI is this community for
And
me.
just get you moving again.
Yes.
Yeah, I had that in the beginning of FTGI. My friend Tracy would text me, "Do you want to play tennis?" And she would know that I was like laid out, just hiding, from the world, and just to have those people that are checking on you and making
Yes.
sure that you're okay, and,
Yes.
and just encouraging you, and
Yes.
and then you do it for someone else.
I know.
I remember another friend of mine was just in a dark place. I said, "I'm going to come over and we're just going to go to the mall. Just take a shower. We're just going to go to the mall." And just to get up and moving and out
Yes.
and having that
And
community.
that is so important to have that.
Yeah.
And I understand that sometimes it's so hard to have that. And that's why I love our community. I love that I get to walk into a place, being the leader of the organization, and look at one of the girls and be like, I am not in a good place today.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just need somebody to listen to me, for me to verbalize the craziness that's going on in my head. So I think that that's very important, and I think we're losing because we're so connected online, but we're so disconnected in the outside world.
Yeah.
And that's why I honestly love about our Better Together nights.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the other day, how we kind of almost walked away from that a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I almost feel that God is allowing me to go to this season of darkness so that He reminds me of how FTGI fed my soul
Yeah.
and my mind.
Yeah.
It was through the Better Together night, which back then was called Girls Night Out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I just love that place because I remember telling people, it's all, I feel that I go there and I'm fed
Yeah.
for the next few months until I have the next one.
Right.
Because it's just girls coming
Yeah.
together to love, support, encourage, inspiring each other.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one big part of me, like dealing with my depression, is having community. people that I trust, and I think that we need to have that. But the second thing that God brought to me the other day during my prayer time was the Our Father prayer, right? That He says, "Give me today my daily bread."
Yes.
And God is teaching me through this season that sometimes all we can have is enough bread for today.
One day at a time.
Is one day at a
It's
time.
one day at a time.
Isn't that amazing that the prayer says that? Give me today my daily bread. It's not saying, even if you think about it, somewhere in the Bible, I'm not, a Bible connoisseur, but there was when God would send the manna just for that specific day. I mean, God could have just, was it manna?
I like the way you say it.
How do you say it?
I say manna.
Manna.
Okay. Manna. I like it.
Manna.
That sounds very like it should have olive oil and salt and herbs. Manna for the day.
With some wine.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my God. But how, He sent that. It was just enough for that day. And I feel that even when we're, living this life of purpose and passion, that sometimes all God can give us is what we can handle for today.
Yeah.
So what I have been trusting God in this season of my life is that if I pray and I say, God, just give me enough energy that I need to have to be who I need to be today for myself, for my children, for my husband, for the ministry, for my business, and trusting that God will walk that journey with us.
Yes.
Because sometimes I feel that we just try to embrace too much. And when you're going to some type of darkness, I call darkness, I'm very apocalyptic by mind. I'm not very, But when we're going through a struggle in life, sometimes we need to understand that we need to just step back, breathe, and allow God just to give us enough of what we need to finish that day.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I'm walking this season right now. And there are days that I really don't want to do anything. And I give myself permission to just not do anything.
Permission to not do anything. The world will keep spinning.
Yes.
It'll all be there tomorrow. I mean, obviously there are deadlines in life, things that we have to do by a certain day. But these things that we get, where sometimes you'll be more productive the next day if you put it down and you go to the beach or you
do
go
something.
do something
Exactly.
and clear your mind and get some rest.
Yes. And I like that because we do have that urgency of the to-do list.
Yeah.
I have that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a to-do list type of person, and I want to check off all the to-dos before the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I feel that if you are really walking under God's purpose for that season of your life, God will make everything right, and He will design situations.
Yeah. And some things fall through the cracks, and they need to.
I know.
Sometimes you can't get it all done if you've just taken on too much, and you need to kind of look at what needs to be pruned here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I really, I just want to encourage everyone, in this season that I'm going through, is to, as I remind myself, because I know that we're all going through that's humanity. We're all going to start, going through some struggles in life. In my case, it's depression right now. In other, for some people may be a marital crisis. For other people may be a business situation or a child or finances. But I think that we just need to learn to ask God for His Spirit to lead us and to just give us today our daily bread, just enough that we need to end the day and start over tomorrow.
Yep.
You know?